So when I texted you or asked you about doing this, I said what I wanted to talk about was God's love and self-love and how I see you spreading that to the boys that you coach, to your
And I
team.
dropped the phone.
Deion Sanders has always known how to turn a phrase.
Hey, you get one more, you can run for mayor. Exactly. Turn up. I'll vote for you, dog.
Never one to shy away from attention, Sanders was known as Neon Deion with a penchant for a flamboyant lifestyle when a contract with Dallas in 1995 made him the highest paid defensive player in the NFL.
But you still straight up, lover. It was good, but you still straight up after.
But these days, prime time for Sanders is coaching young men and women on the field and off. And he uses his platform to talk less about football.
Knowing that he's an all-knowing God, he still posed the question. So it wasn't for God's knowledge. It's for Adam to find his location.
And more about faith.
I am God's man. I am his man. I'm his guy. It's no way he's not gonna let me fail, because if I fail, he looks bad.
Coach Prime, along with his two sons, Shiloh and Shadur, just wrapped up a 10-0 season for Trinity Christian. Guiding the high school players is part of Sanders' mission to bring discipline, purpose, and love to the kids he coaches through Prime Sports. He's giving them something he never got.
I come from a broken home. My biological father was in the neighborhood. Then my stepfather proceeded. One was an alcoholic, one was a drug addict. I've never endeavored in either. I never smoked, never drank in my life. Stopped using profanity my sophomore year in college. But I had some things that I was trying to fight because the like thereof. My father's never told me they loved me. That's not something I heard often. My mother was working her butt off so ends could see one another, although they never met. So my mother never saw me play football, baseball, or basketball in high school because she was working. So there comes the self motivation, because I didn't need no one clapping for me because there wasn't nobody there. So I clapped for myself. I didn't need no one cheering for me because there was nobody there. So I cheered for myself. So there came that what makes me me.
Out of that was born an incredibly gifted athlete. He played baseball, football, and ran track at Florida State. Won the Jim Thorpe Award. He was a two-time All-American cornerback and is the only man to ever play in the Super Bowl and the World Series the same year. But inside, he knew something was missing.
I had a calling on my life, and God was calling me to collect, and I wouldn't answer. I wouldn't accept the charges. I'm gonna say that again. God was calling me to collect, and I would not accept the charges because I understood the charges meant that I had to put down some things that I wasn't ready to put down. I'm on the top of the world and the top of my game, and I'm empty. I'm desolate. I'm thirsting. I give the analogy. Could you ever imagine having 100 suits, but you can't cover up the pain? Could you ever imagine having hundreds of pairs of shoes, but you can't take a step in the right direction? Can you imagine having up to 10 cars in the driveway, but you ain't going nowhere? Could you imagine living in a mansion, but feeling all alone? Could you imagine sleeping on a $25,000 bed, but you're not getting no rest? Could you imagine engulfed with women, but you get up and nobody's satisfied? Could you imagine those times? I mean, those are the times, running out that tunnel and doing what you did on the football field, but you're empty. And sooner or later, you running out of gas, and you know it's going to come to a head, and that's what happened.
Sanders was playing for the Reds in Cincinnati when life brought him to his knees.
It was a moment in a little apartment in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was playing for the Reds. It was a moment where I fell to my knees, going through my first divorce, and my kids was the only thing that I thought that genuinely loved me. Now they're stripped away from me, and I'm sitting up there. I got to compete every day, and I got to have a challenge every day, and I'm lonely. I'm by myself, and I'm not lonely because of the like thereof of people, but I'm lonely because my spirit is troubled, and I cried out. I got on my knees and just cried out, and it was like a movie. I remember feeling a lot of wind and seeing lights flashing. And I remember closing my eyes in fear, and I said, Lord, if that's you, take me. Lord, if that's you, take me, take me. And it was so bright, and the lights was so, it was like this bright light right here all amongst the room. And I was on my knees, teary-eyed, crying and just crying out, Lord, take me. And then once I surrendered, it left. And that was the beginning of what you see now.